Hey, everybody. Welcome to Epic Time. Just a quick little lunchtime recap. I got to just jump over and share this quick, and then we're good. My aircraft is overheating because everything in the sun here is cooking. So, like I say, bear with me 1 second, and I will get this shared. Doing everything, my producer's taking off today, so it's just me, and I happen to be out on a lake. So that part is not too bad. As soon as we show we're live, which we are, now I can share. Do. Hope everybody's having fun following along with this Hokahay and trying to stay involved with it and cheer people on as they're coming in, because it's crazy how long it goes, and the stories that everybody has to share. And I got to share one little bit of info here because, um, I was really hoping that the Hokahay this year would not have, anybody pass away on it. So I was really saddened when I heard that there was, in fact, a fatal wreck on it. And Howard Condre, rider number 1246, passed away. And I was not friends with him. I don't know him. I looked up some of his stuff online, and I saw the story, about him passing. We tried down. So then, it was, just sad because there's so many riders out there doing the same thing he was doing. So many of us that have done the same thing he was doing. So it's just sad. And, there's an inherent risk to riding motorcycle. There's an inherent risk to riding how we ride them. But that doesn't make it any easier. And that doesn't make it like, you know, justified in your head. It's like something terrible happened and there's just no getting around it. So, my condolences to his family, his friends, his kids, everybody in his hog chapter that was really cheering him on. It's just sad when that happens. And, you know, uh, there's really not much you can say about it other than how sorry it is that it happened again this year. And 2024, we did not lose anybody during the Hokahay, and it was, such a pleasant change. So now this year, losing somebody just kind of puts a cloud over it a little bit. That's for sure. But there's a lot of riders still out there giving it their all. And to those riders, that's not easy to deal with when you hear of somebody who passed away doing what you're doing. And so sometimes that gets in their head. So the riders that are out there, man, like at this point in the game, take time, rest, do whatever you got to do, coming in on day 18, day 19 or 20. Like that's not going to matter. Make sure you get in. And if you need to take a full day of rest, take a full day of rest. Don't push it. Don't stress over trying to, get in. And I want to show you my view here, but I had to switch because I keep rotating the sun and everything overheats and dies. I found that out already. I lost the computer once. I lost my phone once. It just shuts down. So it's just crazy. But there's been a lot of riders coming in. This is like a busy time. I see Claire, 1169 or 1269, I guess she is. She's posted that she should be coming in tonight. She's the one that's riding a Fat Boy. So I think that's pretty cool. I better look at my comments and make sure I'm being heard and everything's good. So, all right, that's awesome. So, that was really cool that she's making it on that Fat Boy. I just think that's awesome that somebody who owns a bagger chooses to ride a Fat Boy. And, I owned a 1995 Fat Boy, and it was no picnic to ride. So to ride that for, I believe hers in 99. So same era Fat Boy. And so to ride that for 11,500 miles is pretty insane. So congratulations to Claire. Keep pushing, get in tonight. I saw I'm on vacation here. I have a couple days off. I had a little family thing going on over the weekend, and I have a couple days off. So I'm on a lake. So I've been a little out of touch, to be honest. And there was so much going on. I thought I'd just come and recap, and I could read the comments as well. But this is where I'm at, and I'm at a lake here, and straight behind me in your view is where my wife lived when she was in school when I met her. So somewhere over there, you can't really see it, but one of those houses right there by the willow tree, that's where she lived when I met her. So it's kind of fun. We just had a verbo on the lake and we're just chilling. So I'm sitting out here in a pontoon, and as you can see, it's just glass. I've been doing some fishing, some hanging out, and it's just kind of nice. So it's been a hot, busy minute keeping up with all these monster riders out there and watching them race around and doing a show twice a day. So it's been pretty epic. But a lot of riders are coming in. Last night, yesterday we had a bunch. We have a bunch more coming in. But Ronimo came in, Taco, Rob, Raindrop. I'm going off of memory here. Jug and George, were fun to watch. Those guys kind of teamed up and rode around, but they made some really great videos. If you get a chance to go back and look at Jug's videos about his ride, like they embraced the suck, and it was really kind of fun to watch because I think they had a lot of sucky moments, but instead of letting their sucky moments turn into a no shit moment, they just kind of embraced it and rolled with it, and whatever it was, it was. And George mailed some stuff home, and everybody, he got crap about that, stopping at the post office. And there's Jug commenting right now. And so, they had fun. And I really felt like when I watched those guys ride it, it was kind of the essence of what the ride is supposed to be, what it was meant to be, and how the vast majority of people should ride it, and get something out of it. Push yourself with somebody else if you choose to, or by yourself, whatever the case is. But just give it your all to get in, but enjoy the things that go wrong. Don't stress about the crap that goes wrong. Don't wig out about it, because at the end of the day, people are coming in, and they had a lot of talk about marshal services and you know uh verifying routes and all that kind of stuff. And at the end of the day, I don't think any of that's happening. I looked at some people were posting the rules and regs and terms and conditions of the ride. And it clearly says in there that the elite finisher that comes in 12 days, they're the only ones that they're checking their route. And I don't even know that anybody came in elite status. So after that, it didn't really matter a whole lot, because elite status had to be in by midnight on the 13th of August. So it's the on midnight. It wasn't 6 in the morning. There's so much that goes on with this that everybody posts like they have all of the answers, and they did it 3 years ago, or they did it 3 times, and they know exactly what goes on. Nobody does. You can read those terms and conditions and decipher them, but they're open-ended. So it's a little tough for you. But I read them, and it clearly says that you only have to get your route verified if you're an elite finisher to be an elite finisher. So you could win it and come in on day 15, um, and not have to worry about it if you followed it exactly, because you're not an elite finisher. Even though in my mind, if you win, that's elite. If you're in the top 10, 20, that's definitely elite in my mind. Clearly, my opinion doesn't matter much. But if you come in 276 riders and you come in the top 20, I think that's pretty damn elite in my books. So I kind of laughed at that. But so they have the elite finisher, and I'm going to read it just so everybody knows, because every time I see a post about it, there's a ton of comments about people, and they just commenting on shit they don't know. And I kind of laugh, because I'm like, why do you keep spreading things that aren't true? It's pretty simple to just read it, and that's the rules. So that's exactly what I'm going to do, is just read it and tell you, because this is elite and badass finishers must not miss. So it's elite and badass, must not miss any portion of the route whatsoever. That's not being adhered to. So that's in the terms and conditions, but that's not accurate, because I was at the party and they had people up and they flat out said they missed part of the routes, but they overcame and did what they could. So take that for what it's worth. but that's what it's about. And it says must not miss any portion of the route whatsoever. If a wrong turn is not corrected at the section is bypassed, you will not be eligible. It says you will not be eligible for elite finisher status. At the beginning, it says elite and badass finishers must adhere to it, but it ends the sentence with elite finisher status is the only one that you can't get if you did something wrong. So I don't know what that means. Navigational assistance from any source to include but not limited to GPSs, which enables you to pinpoint your location. So any GPS you're looking at is basically what it does. Anything you're looking at a map. Um, Anyone that runs with riders to utilize it or use it themselves for assistance to navigate is not allowed. But everybody knows that doesn't happen. So there's that. But the participants, they must stay, not stay indoors. It goes on and on. But your badass finishers have to come in. To be an elite finisher, you have to be in by midnight on the 13th, and badass has to be in by midnight on the 15th. So there's a lot of comments that said you have to be in by a certain day, which took you until 6 in the morning because you started at 6 in the morning. But it's not. Elite finisher is midnight on the 13th, that Thursday. After that, the badass finishers up until midnight, the night of the party. So on the 15th, it's midnight, not 6 in the morning, that I watched a ton of people comment on, telling that's what it is, because that's still your 13th day or 12th day, and it's still your, 14th day. That's not what the terms and conditions say, and that's all I'm quoting is the terms and conditions. What gets followed and what is accurate, that's a whole nother story, but that's what it is. But that's what I wanted to just make sure people were clear on the finishers. And then you are a finisher anything after that midnight on the 15th until midnight on the 21st, the following Saturday. That is a straight up finisher. Now you're a finisher of the okay, that is right now. Somebody that comes in, they are a finisher. Anybody that comes in after midnight on Saturday is a slow ass finisher. So midnight on Saturday, if you're still on the road, you're a slow ass finisher. It also goes on to say that after midnight on Saturday of the slow ass finishers, someone may or may not be there to greet you. So to the riders who came in as badass or regular finishers or elite that didn't have somebody greet them, I guess that was just a mistake. And somebody slept in or skipped you or missed you or whatever happened. But there's been several riders that were not greeted at the line by anyone, just came in and did their thing. And that's that. So, but that's how the finisher thing works. That's how it's run so people understand it. It is midnight. That's probably the biggest dilemma. And the elite has changed. A lot of elite riders who rode in 2024 were telling people, oh, if you're in by the party, you're an elite rider. That's not the case this year. In 2022, that wasn't the case. 24 it was. 26 is not. So if you want to get any more confusing about elite rider, they could write a section on it of just what makes an elite rider by what year you got it, because that's changed every year since 2020. So 2020, 22, 24, 26, elite is a different definition. And now you have badass, and now you have regular finisher and slow ass finisher, but they're all at the midnight deadline, not the 6 in the morning that some people were thinking it is. Let's see. Yeah, all the bikes have it on the dash. All touring bikes have your GPS is right on the dash, and you know, uh, you know, I shouldn't say all of them because you have to buy it. And in 24, when myself and a bunch of people had new bikes, I didn't know you had to buy anything. I never had a that's on my dash. I had a, in the Hoka, I had Electric Glide standards. They didn't come with it. So you had to buy it. I bought it after the fact. And then I found out you have to buy it again. So I thought it was a one time buy a yearly subscription for $300. I mean, I think that's a racket Harley's got going on, but that's a whole nother story. Um, so that's that. Let's see the GPS part. The GPS part, it states, let's see, somebody has a question on the part. Uh, I was flat out told, like, you can be disqualified for using a GPS. That's all it says, and the odds of you getting disqualified are pretty slim. So you're not supposed to use it in the spirit of the Hoka. You're supposed to use maps and not a GPS. But if you use a GPS, uh, I don't know of anybody that's ever been penalized for it or had anything happen. And there's been countless people come into finish lines with it turned on, checkpoints with it turned on, uh, people leaving, leaving the start of it with it turned on. So I think GPSs are just a thing that you have to accept they're going to be used because it's just the way people operate. And some people straight up tell you, oh, it's just a map, and it's not a map if you can pinpoint your location. I mean, that's why the terms and conditions say you're not allowed to use it, but that's just a whole nother story. Let's see. Oh, yes, this trying to get the questions. I know my glasses on, right? So at this point, riders who make it to the finish line, they will be listed as a finisher if they meet the requirements and they did everything right. But they're a finisher because I mean I just don't see a whole lot of checking unless somebody missed 1,000 miles or something like that. But they started out with they're going to be very stringent on if you miss any of it. But I have video, I've seen pictures, I've had countless people tell me who missed what and how they did it, and they just go on. So I don't know, maybe it's impossible for them to look at it, I have no idea. But however they decide to do it, it's by discretion. There's no set, you're out if you don't do this, like the rules, terms and conditions say. And you're just not listed as a finisher. It doesn't say you can't be fifth place, fourth place, whatever. Doesn't say that. Just says you can't be listed as an elite rider. So I think that's just opening the door. And they said it was going to be open to public. It also states it'll be open to public. Your route will be open to public scrutiny, meaning your route will be available, but they have it all locked. You can't see it. I could watch somebody ride. But I can't go back and look at routes like you could in all the other years before this. I could go back and look at my own. You could pick any 48-hour window, type it into the tracker, and you could watch it be written out, whatever. So that's not happening. You can't see it. It's just if you watch it being ridden, that's fine. But you can't go back and be like, look, this happened on August 5th and 6th. Because so I don't know what they mean by public scrutiny if you have it locked where the public can't see it. kind of funny for me, but it is what it is. I just wanted to clear up what people expect to see when you see elite finisher, badass finisher, or slow ass finisher. I mean, I personally believe if you finish this route, this ride, this challenge, that's pretty spectacular just to finish it at whatever pace that is. If you can come in, I would say up to 21 days, and then it should just be closed. I don't know why you're classifying somebody as a slow ass finisher. They had major problems with the body, the bike, or the mind, and they can't do it. So to call somebody a slow ass finisher is almost like you're saying, you're not cut off for this. You're a slow ass finisher. And if you're going to have that, you might as well just close it and say, better luck next time. Go home, come in, do whatever you want to do. But this route is now closed instead of, but again, this is just my opinion, not, I don't have any say in it. So let me check these things. Yeah, yeah, that's a good idea. Um, Yeah, and here's somebody. This is so funny. It's Frosty. I didn't look who said it, but the challenge right now is over for a lot of people. They are home. They're on their way home, whatever it is, and the challenge continues for some of these riders mentally. My wife can tell you stories about my dumbass, waking her up in the middle of the night, ready to go. And she's like, one, I'm not riding with you. And two, it's over with. It's been over for a week. Every one I did was a little bit mentally easier. But man, at the beginning in 2018, I went on vacation afterwards and then went home. And I was still a mess when I got home, 10 days after I was done with it, something like that. So if you have a husband, a wife who is into this, and people say, "Oh, I can't wait to get home and rest." I want to know how many people went home and were like, "Yay, now I'm in my bed and I went to sleep." I can't picture Yos sleeping very little, riding like a maniac, and then it's going home and taking that switch and turning it off. And now he's like, "Oh, bedtime. Oh, time to go to work." I would think he's up, jump up and take off. At least that's how I was. So, like I said, I've never claimed my brain had as many waves in it as it should, but it's a little smooth. But I think that's kind of funny, and I would think that that's pretty common. So if that's you, you know, uh, share that story here in the comments, or post about it, whatever, because I'm sure there's going to be so many people that can relate with that of just being a mental time clock mess. You know, up when wake up and think you got to be in a hurry. Wake up and start getting your boots on, and then find out like, oh, that's right, I still have 2 days off, and I'm not even home yet. So I think it's kind of funny, and it's like kind of good humor to live through vicariously through some of the riders, because I told a lot of the riders I really enjoyed watching them, and I loved watching the roads and kind of living through their suck. And it kind of made me smile a bit that I wasn't doing it and they were doing that crazy stuff. So it's pretty crazy. Yeah, that is really funny right here, Beastman. Like, here's somebody who's done it several times. Like, you wake up and you wonder where you'd need to be. Like, you wake up and the first thing you think about is like, all right, now where am I going? Like, you feel like you should be going somewhere, but you can't quite figure out where and why your bike's not next to you and why you're in bed, and like not putting it all together. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, I'm home. I'm laying here with the gal, and now I got to put my mind back together and go with it. So it is funny to see, how everybody deals with it a little bit, and it's it's funny. Yeah, the panic you go through, when you wake up and you're late, it that stuff is just it's comical, and I think a lot of people who ride will be able to deal with this. But the people who have never done it, they're just trying to imagine it. So imagine like just brain chaos. And you just wake up and it's like, you know, uh, so out of it and so crazy about where you are and what you're doing, and not putting any pieces together. But I did want to pull the map up and see what we got going on here, because there's still some people that are a long ways away. These people are riding too. They're not right here. These two right there are definitely riding because they were at the checkpoint when the halfway point. So they're still getting after it. I would say they're shutting them off now because a few people came in and their trackers got shut off. A few days ago, they were way behind. People were going home. People were, struggling, to do something, and they were still on the tracker. But these people are still in line, still doing it. Let me clear this so we can see who's who. I saw Popoff come in last night. That was fun to watch that. Let's see. Yeah, KGB. I thought he was going to be in there. I actually looked beforehand to see because I thought he was going to be in this morning, but when I got up, he was still a little ways out. Where is he? There he is, right there, 902. KGB, and right behind him is Susan Miller Time. That is a tiny little thing, and she's really funny because she rides like crazy, and she's riding that trike, banging through those twisties. God bless anybody that rides a trike and they're trying to do that. Like, trikes aren't for me, but maybe someday they are. But the problem with it is like the someday comes for a lot of guys when they're old and they can't do some things. And then you you're lacking what you need to steer the damn things around a Hoka Hay style event. The twisties, you're a lot more muscle than it is about leaning a bike and throwing that thing over from side to side. You're working your shoulders and your arms and things that generally don't do so well the older you get. So, but they're doing good and coming in. Yeah, Ken's going to be in there pretty soon. That's a few hours away yet, right here. Because when we were at the checkpoint, there was a couple times I'm like, oh, they're almost here. Then we went down. I'm like, oh shit, they're a long ways away, including when we started one of the lives because we had riders coming in. And then Roadrunner was so worried about getting a ticket or crashing, he was doing like 5 miles an hour under the speed limit. So the whole time we're tracking him, he's like, oh, he goes from here to here relatively quickly. And now he's doing 5 to 10 under the speed limit. He didn't want to take any chances. He's coming to a complete stop, looking both ways. He didn't want a ticket and he didn't want a crash. So he was really taking it easy. But we sat live, panning around the whole place, talking to everybody, wives, kids, neighbors, people that were delivering the newspaper, you name it. We talked to them. And then finally he came in. So we got a little wiser on how long things were. But this is a long time to be on the road. So these people are, I hope they take the time to just say to hell with it, man. I'm at day 18. Like, what difference does 19 or 20 make? And taking time to give a little rest. So that would be the best, because there is no sense pushing this thing and having bad things happen when you can just rest now and you're going to finish it and get there through the storms. I mean, some of these people have had horribly bad luck with rain and weather, hot in some places and pouring rain in the others. I was like, they got a cloud or no clouds and they need a combination, 105 degrees in Texas and then getting 7 inches of rain in Ohio, West Virginia, all over the place, just getting pounded. And I don't mind getting pounded with rain when I'm riding down an interstate and the road's cupped right and water's running off and just raining. You can slow down a bit so you can see, but it's easy to figure out. You get in trouble, you can look at the lines on the road and know when you're getting right or left. But when you're in the middle of Kentucky that hasn't had a line painted on it since 1962, like going around corners and it's downpouring, good luck figuring out where you are. And that corner comes real quick to the left. And by the time you get your shit organized to the left, things going back to the right. So that makes it extremely hard for the riders to ride in the rain and downpour. So I mean, that takes a different class of rider that's going to do that. And typically that class of rider is a little bit insane. Like if you had them tested, they'd probably be institutionalized. But they're very entertaining to watch. A couple of them had speeding tickets, so we didn't really get to watch their full antics. But I'm not going to name any names, especially my friends like Iceman and Teeter and Rolo, who Rolo did continue on, but she did notch it down a bit after her ticket. And Loco got a ticket and then a crash. So he had the gauntlet going on. So he was entertaining right to the bitter end. Let's see. Yeah, Aaron came through Kentucky. Yeah, he was talking about it on Facebook. That's Aaron Utzi, and he said how demanding this is and how hard of a course and how rough it is. And man, you can't prepare yourself for a ride like this. You can do the best you can, but nobody's preparing to ride through that kind of rain on a loaded bike full of twisties and have an extra 1,500 miles than the last 4 years have had. That's a lot of extra miles when you're at very tough directions and twisties and then bad weather. So by no means was this an easy route at all. And that's why I'm like, anybody who can cross that finish line at all, God bless you. And you did a hell of a job to keep your bike upright, your body in check, and your mind focused on what you're doing, because it's not easy. But that's all we got, because I just wanted to hit on that quick. I was just trying to ram through lunch, no lunch breaks getting over for people. And unless I missed something or somebody wants to check on somebody, I'll certainly do that. Let me get the comment section up so I know what I'm doing here. There we go. Ah, yeah, I like that. Going through town last couple of days, his brain is still locked in, focusing on road signs. That's so funny. That's somebody. That's Jug who's back home. That's not like working his way home at least. But the challenge does not end when you cross that finish line. That's for sure. Yeah, I can check on Bob and Rob. I'm glad you got back safe and sound. That was really good. Uh, let's see where Stinger Bob is. 1281. He's right there, Rockwood, Illinois. So I zoom out. I have no idea where Rockwood is. Oh, that's down by St. Louis. So he's got a hot minute yet. Yeah, it's a long ways down. There's a lot of riders there. I mean, there's a big group right there. So, you know, sure they've all gotten to know each other pretty good. That's for sure. It's fun. Like that's what's fun is when you ride with somebody and then you can go back and look at them, see how they did, see how they're doing, that kind of thing. So that's pretty fun. But I didn't want to be on here too long. One, because I'm fishing, and two, it's like they keep coming in. But if I miss anybody, I'm gonna get rid of that map. But if I missed anybody, put in the comments they came in. I mean, congratulations really to everybody that came in. Obviously, I have a lot of friends, close friends that were out there that I'm really watching, just like you are with your friends and family. And some of these people who came in, on this run, that a lot of people don't know their names, hadn't really heard of them. Like Yost is a classic. He's a great rider, but a lot of people, they don't know him personally. He lives down in Florida, and it's fun because now you got to see him. You got to see that. If you're new to it and you didn't watch Dirty Dan last year, you might not know what kind of rider he is, and now you see him like, oh damn, that's no fluke. Anytime you can win something and come in the top five again, that's proven something. I mean, that's why I've had so much respect for Fede. He won it in 16, 18 he came in second, and 20 he came in first or second. So that's right there, and that's just legit riding. There's no doubt about it. So you just prove that's no fluke. If you're coming in one and then you follow that up with even a top 10 is beast riding. And Dan followed it up with another win. So that just shows you how impressive a ride that is. So one last look here at my nice view. I went to the store and I bought a really nice lure. I had a nice spinner bait. It was yellow, it was shiny, it was bright. Three cast, two fish, and my damn thing bit my line off. And I lost my lure. And now I'm sitting on the lake pouting. So that's been going on a hot minute. So that's that. Let me check the comments one more time. Yeah, you're welcome, Jug. Oh, hold on, wrong one. There we go. You're welcome. It was nice to do the episodes. One thing I wanted to put on, but my phone got too hot to do it. I wanted to post, and I'll do that on my next update when I have a desktop in front of me, is our totals for fundraising. At least for Mile Monsters, I'm not sure about what everybody's been doing, but if there's anybody else who wants to post their individual stuff in the comments, by all means, please do. If you post what it is you're riding for, whatever that cause is, post that with it and say you raise this much, whatever it is, man. We're all about the charitable end of riding. We're all about that. So that is that. What else we got for a comment? One more comment here. Oops. All right. Yeah, Yost was at the old man party, and he's a good dude, man. He came in 18th, 19th, or 20th in 24, and he stuck with riding with three people. And I think that's the difference of 24 to 26. When you ride with a group of people, things that go wrong, you all get it wrong. It's not a one out of three that has a chance, and the other two keep going. They started actually with four, but one didn't finish. But they rode together the whole way, and you are not going to win the Hokahay. You're not going to be in the top two riding with three of your pals from home. That's a different experience. That's a different journey. That's a different ride. This year, he was by himself from out of the gate. So that was his plan 100%. And I'm super proud of him for doing it. He's experienced the Hockey Challenge. He's done it twice and he's had two totally different experiences. And he's had it that most people don't get to ever experience that. Being in the top and riding with your pals from start to finish. Two totally different runs, totally different experiences, and he's done it twice, and he's got both those, so my hat's off to him for that. I think that's pretty sick, so, um, yeah, and just to finish is awesome, and that's pretty amazing, um, that Frosty has put up that the Mile Monsters riding in the Hokahay have raised over roughly $110,000. I mean, all I can say to that is, damn, that's impressive. That's why I want to do these shows. I love the idea of riding for others. I have since my first Hokahay. It hooked me on it. I love to see other people doing it. I hope that this ride inspires the next generation to be crazy charitable. I hope there's another organization like Mile Monsters that continues to grow and be just super epic for another cause, whatever that is, because somebody is benefiting greatly. In our case, we're getting a kid a handicap accessible van. They are stupid expensive and insurance doesn't cover it. So out of the blue, you have to have a handicap accessible van. And for people not ready to spend $100,000 on a vehicle, that's a huge, huge, chunk out of their budget. So sure, they'll buy it, but they're going to have payments of $1,200 a month for the next 6 years while they're bringing the kids to the hospital, to treatments, to this and that. It really limits how much money you have left for the fun things in life that they can help live their best life. So that's why we do what we do. I'm happy to see why other people do what they do. Everybody has a story, everybody has a journey, and it's fun when you can do the cool shit you do and some little kid somewhere benefits from you being so epic. So that's pretty awesome. And to everybody out there killing it, good job. To every rider out there that's come in, good job. To the rider who lost his life, my condolences to his family, his friends. Again, that is a sad, sad thing. And we all have to take a moment and just reflect on that, say a prayer for the family, because, for whatever reason, he got called home, but somebody else didn't. And we'll never have those answers why. Someday you'll get all the answers. And when that day comes, you'll have a aha moment. But until then, it's just sad when we lose somebody. So with that, I'm out of here. One last look at my beautiful lake that I'm sitting on. There's a few weeds where I'm fishing, but I'm not swimming, so I'm fishing. With that, I am out of here. Everybody have a good day. We'll do another update maybe on Friday, Saturday. I'm not sure. I got to get home, so I'll be driving. So I'll figure it out. We'll do it sometime. Stay tuned. Peace.